you today. It really means the world to me, especially because I'm somebody who did not grow up with love or safety. And so being in a space like this just proves to me how healing it can be when you're surrounded by community, by people who are showing up with open hearts, open minds, compassion, vulnerability. So thank you for being here. But yeah, before we get started, I definitely want to take a moment for some acknowledgements. Alicia and Lola, today could not have been possible without you. Thank you for opening up your home, for sharing this space with us, for believing in our mission and amplifying our voice. Seriously, you've helped us tremendously to be able to continue to expand and grow in immeasurable ways. So thank you. To our silent auction donors, some of whom are here, thank you for donating so generously and making today such a success. To my board and team, I couldn't be here without you. Every step of the way, they have stood by my side, and we have built this organization from the ground up in the last 2 years. And to my partner, Fausto, for being such a supportive love in my life and being today's afternoon MC. Please give everybody a round of applause. So, together with my board and team, we're building something that's never been done before. There have been countless articles and psychological research that shows the intersection of trauma recovery with travel, and yet nobody has actually created a methodology to take somebody from surviving to thriving using solo travel as the core tool for self-development. So nearly 20 years ago, I began to solo travel as a coping mechanism for a lifetime of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. Like many of you, I come from a dysfunctional family. My father is a sociopath. My mother has borderline personality disorder. Every single day of my life was chaos. I didn't know what to expect growing up. I never grew up with words of love or signs of affection. I was told time and time again that I was hated, that I shouldn't have been born, that I'm a waste. So I had no sense of self-worth. Every day I would wake up as a child and the first thing I would feel was dread. I never knew what mood my mother was gonna be in. I never knew what was gonna set my father off. I didn't even feel safe enough to eat in my own home. I would wait until my parents were asleep and I'd sneak into the kitchen and eat some food in the middle of the night because I was afraid of being around them and eat for something unexpected. And the physical abuse began as young as 3 years old. That's the earliest memory I have of being hit, something so unreasonable and so violent. I remember my head being slammed into walls, my dad straddling me, punching me across the face, my mom strangling me, dragging me by the hair across the floor, and even having knives thrown at me. And at 7 years old, the abuse continued. I was molested for months by the adult son of one of my parents' friends, something I still have not been able to share with my family. And that violation has marked me for decades. It has affected the way that I understood touch, love, safety, intimacy, trust. And it was around the age 12 during a middle school sex ed class that memory came crashing down onto me, where I finally understood with clarity what had happened and I could no longer deny it. Suddenly what felt like a fog dream became so real and I held it in private, a painful realization that led to very deep depression and the beginning of my self-harm. And as I grew older, the abuse only intensified. Broken bones, broken teeth. I remember sitting at my desk, doing my homework, trembling because there was blood coming out of my mouth, my nose, from being hit so hard. And I became an expert at hiding my pain. I would hide my bruises under long sleeves and fake smiles. And I kept a journal even to tally down the days until 18 where I could finally be out of this home because I was so desperate to survive. And I continued to self-harm because the pain of the self-harm felt more controllable than the pain that I felt at home. But there was one bright light in my childhood, my sweet angel of a grandmother. She's the only reason that I ever experienced unconditional love growing up. And the only person who ever truly did see me and understand me. But even she was powerless against my parents. There's only so much that she could do to protect me. I felt suicidal every single day from the age of 12 to 18. But I knew that if I took my life, it would break her heart the most. The only other refuge I had was school. And at school, I could be goofy, I could be a kid, be curious, be present, have friends. I would ask to sleep over at my friends' houses as much as possible because there, at least I could sleep in peace and eat and be, a kid. And even when exhausted, even after I would sleep for 3 hours, studying all night, eating in the middle of the night, school was still the only place that I could be myself. So I poured my heart and soul into my academics because I knew that determination would eventually carry me to freedom. And it did. That determination led me to earn a bachelor's and master's degree in biomedical engineering, and eventually my first time feeling completely autonomous. But eventually the pain at home became impossible to hide. Teachers and classmates began to notice the bruises on my body, the blood on my homework, the exhaustion. They were the ones who reported me to Child Protective Services. But by then, I was already 16, and I had endured years of trauma. And social workers and police came to my school, they came to my home for months, investigated, and ultimately decided that my home was not fit for life. That was my breaking point. That was when I began to travel, because I had nowhere else to go. I'm grateful to not have been exposed to drugs or alcohol growing up, because that could have been a very viable path for me. But ultimately, all I had was my academics and a car, and that's all I got. So at first, it was my way to escape, because I had nowhere to go. And solo travel was terrifying in the beginning. I was alone with my own self-hatred, the thoughts in my head. I was scared. I didn't know what my life was going to hold. And it was in those hardest moments of complete dread where I finally began to grow, because I had no choice but to grow into those moments. Slowly, my escapism turned into passion. My passion turned into obsession. And my obsession turned into mission to pursue the most powerful tool I had yet to discover for my self-development. I became my own best friend, my own best companion. I longed for my solitude, not because I had no one, but because it made me feel empowered, it made me feel strong. And after every solo trip, I came back feeling more confident, more capable, and more resilient. Resilient, that's the word that I would use to define what travel gave me. And here's what I know with absolute certainty. You will always come back a different version of yourself than when you left for a solo trip. It is inevitable. One of the greatest philosophies I've learned in life is that discomfort equals growth. It is in those moments when you are so lost, so scared, so uncomfortable, those moments that you actually begin to grow. And that's the gift of travel. It really forces you to step into your discomfort and find the strength that you never even knew you had. And it wasn't until 10 years after I began traveling, thinking that the distance alone, traveling across different continents would be enough to heal me, that I finally decided to start therapy. And therapy taught me that it takes more. It actually gave me the tools to face my complex PTSD, my chronic depression, my generalized anxiety, and my OCD. It taught me that while I couldn't change where I came from, I could build the future. I could build where I was going. And for years, I carried rage and hatred towards my parents. I thought I could never forgive them. But therapy gave me the tools to look at it differently. Eventually, and to my own surprise, not only did I forgive them, but I also empathized with them. I understood that they too are the products of their own childhood trauma, that they were only doing the best they could given the circumstances that they were given. And if I was in their shoes, having endured everything that they endured, I wouldn't have done any better. I would have been the exact same. And this is what it looks like to break generational trauma, to be the one person in your family to stop the cycle. It takes bravery, it takes courage, it takes fear of rejection and working through that. And knowing that without the fear, you can't be brave. And that's also what we ask of our clients. What we're offering is not a free vacation. It is a very difficult and challenging opportunity for growth. It comes with ups and downs, it is painful along the way, but it leads to lasting transformation. And that's why we are so selective with our applicants. Travel gave me the distance I needed from my upbringing to recognize the good within me. It gave me perspective. Through all the conversations I've had with individuals around the world in different countries, different religions, different upbringings, I really began to understand that my problems are part of such a bigger world around me. And it also gave me appreciation and gratitude for what I did have. And I think that perspective is extremely humbling and expansive in your mind. I'll never forget the light bulb moment I had while traveling in Bolivia. If everybody had access to education and travel, we might actually achieve a semblance of world peace. But these are the two biggest inequities that we face in our world today, and generations have been stuck in cycles of poverty and trauma because of the lack of access. And that's when the seed of Travel Through Trauma began to form. I was standing on that hill watching the lives of people so different from mine, and realizing that travel paired with the right supports and the right tools can be a radical method of healing. That's when I decided to create this organization. But I also decided that if I wanted to see change in the world, I would start in my own backyard in a city that I love so much, Los Angeles, because real change begins at home. And that's exactly why I founded this organization, because I know firsthand that therapy alone isn't enough when you're stuck in the environment that has traumatized you. Financial coaching isn't enough when you can't envision a life for yourself outside of poverty. Life skills training isn't enough when you don't even believe in your own capacity. And the truth is, to permanently change a life, you need to give them all the tools: therapy, financial coaching, life skills training, and travel. But to make that possible, it takes resources. For one client alone, for their solo travel experience is $3,000. And for the entire 4-month program, everything that we offer, it amounts to about $10,000 per client. And that's why it's so important that we have volunteers providing their expertise pro bono. That's why we have such an amazing team of therapists and financial coaches and health and fitness coaches. All of this is needed to make it possible. And in just 2 years, we've seen measurable change. Clients reporting up to 120% increase in motivation, over 100% increase in their ability to connect socially and with themselves. And this transformation from surviving to thriving is exactly what Travel Through Trauma brings to the table, makes it possible for others. And I would not be standing here today if it wasn't for those rare moments of love and safety that I received along the way. And we also recognize that we don't leave our clients without support after 4 months, because travel or trauma recovery takes a lot longer. So we have some really important partnerships as well. We have partnerships with BetterHelp, the world's largest online therapy platform. We give them an additional 3 months of therapy when they've completed our program. Partnerships with MoodFit, an online fitness and mental wellness app that they continue to sustain their growth. But while we may not be saving thousands of people at once, the work we're doing with each individual is so deep and so profound that it creates lasting effects among their friends, their families, and their communities. Gandhi once said that when you save one life, you save the world. And that's a philosophy that we really hold true at Travel Through Trauma. And frankly, we're just getting started. Next year, our vision is to double our capacity, to bring this model to the rest of California and the United States and abroad. And our motto says it best: you've got to explore the world within you by exploring the world around you. So thank you for being here, for listening to my story and all the other stories with such open hearts and open minds. Whether it's through donating or pledging or just sharing our story, everything you do makes a big difference for our organization. And you've also noticed there are QR codes everywhere, so even a monthly donation of $25 goes a long way in sustaining our work. Please be the bridge. Be the reason that somebody finally believes in themselves for the first time, learns to trust themselves, learns to really embrace their past and move into a newfound future. And also, please stay connected with us. This is just the beginning of a long-term relationship. I would love to get to know each and every one of you. We also have other events coming up. We have a 5K event in March. There's sign-up sheets in the back, so if you're interested, come represent Travel Through Trauma. We would love to have you there. But thank you again for everything you've done, coming here with your energy, and I hope that this experience is just as supportive for you as it has been for us. Thank you.